I think so. That's fine, yeah.
You just want to have a more course. I'll bring the loans.
The email came out. I guess so. These guys have been here long enough. If you can retire, do it. So, pulled off table, I'll second that, and we can ready to vote. Send the people on.
Yeah, when you said that name, I thought I recognized, but I couldn't put two and two together. Yeah.
Up here. So I think
Oh, okay.
probably one maybe. Question mark. I think we got four for YouTube and Baker. So I think this Baker flips, but I think if you're talking about it, good job.
Hey, folks, I'd like to welcome you to the St. Charles County Council meeting of Monday, February the 12th, 2024. We will begin the meeting with an invocation that will be presented by Pastor Joe Griffin of the Grace Doctrine Church, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Nancy Snyder. Please rise.
Thank you, sir. Before beginning, I want you to know that I've done some research about what you guys do. You're going to have a long night. You're going to need prayer. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, our prayers that you would guide and direct these council members in their deliberations this evening so that the decisions they make here will be beneficial to the citizens of this county. The tranquility of life presently enjoyed be further benefited by any new proposals and subsequent decisions which will be considered this evening. And Father, we lift our prayer of gratitude to you in the name of Jesus Christ, who is Yahweh Sabaoth, the Lord of the armies. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Swanson.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Here.
Councilman Elam.
Here.
Councilman Hollander.
Here.
Councilman Hammond.
Here.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Councilman Baker.
Here.
Okay, first on the agenda tonight is a conditional use permit, bill number 5266.
Bill number 5266, requested by Michael Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance granting conditional use permit CUP 23-23 for a bed and breakfast resident to Mark Milster and Joanne Milster, property owners, and NSTAAFL LLC applicant. Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Meyer.
Hi, my name is Robert Myers, Planning and Zoning Division Director for St. Charles County. The conditional use permit request you have before you tonight, in my mind, is very straightforward in that it's a single-family home where the applicants propose a bed and breakfast residence, which differs from a short-term rental or an Airbnb in that it has to be, have hosts who live in the property, who interact with the guests, and at least serve breakfast. So in that regard, it's different than an Airbnb or a short-term rental. The applicants are proposing to convert 3 existing bedrooms to guest rooms. And as I understand the building code as it stands today, they would not have to put in sprinklers under our existing code to do so. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing, and following public testimony, they voted to recommend 8 in favor and 0 against for approval of the conditional use permit for the bed and breakfast residence on Terry Road.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Sure. I'd like to call up Joanne and/or Mark Milster, the applicants.
And I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. You do it, honey. You do it.
We don't know
dance
who's in
better when
charge.
it's
You did.
when there's
That
music.
that was
Okay, we do.
that was impressive.
My love.
Go ahead.
Good evening, council. We are requesting that we run a bed and breakfast out of our existing home. All 3 bedrooms would be segregated from our bedroom. They're on the 2nd floor. We live on the 1st floor. And we did have the fire person come out from Augusta Fire and look throughout the house. The only recommendation that he made was to put fire extinguishers and CO2 on each level, which we did do. And I do have that. Do you have any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Not at this time. Okay, we will call you back up if we do.
All
Okay?
right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, public comment for this particular,
Arnie Dienoff.
Mr. Dienoff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff.
Got to get sworn in, Mr.
That's right, sorry.
Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Sorry about that, forgot. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate, and I testified as a proponent to pass this bed and breakfast unit in Augusta. There's a huge need there. We're trying to grow our tourism. There are lacking hotel rooms, motel rooms, and bed and breakfasts. So this would be a good idea. However, I had a couple issues, and I don't know, I didn't hear from the Community Development Director. They weren't exactly answered. And I didn't have time to follow up with the State Fire Marshal's office. But ADA requirements, Americans with Disabilities Act, since these bedrooms are going to be on the 2nd floor, I don't know if they're exempt or if they have to comply with ADA regulations in terms of somebody who's disabled or somebody who's in a wheelchair, especially when it comes to a ramp to the home, the bed and breakfast, and accessible parking with ADA and accessible restrooms. That was one concern, and then the other concern was, if you all recall, we went through this with a group home a couple of years ago, and there was a question with the State Fire Marshal in terms of escape routes, and I think the sprinkler system may have been answered, may have not, but I believe that the state law would require some type of fire suppression system, and especially 2 escape routes. And I don't know if that's been achieved here at this residence, especially with the 2nd floor, but it is kind of a quasi motel hotel, even though it's a bed and breakfast. So my first concern is ADA requirements for the restroom, the bedrooms, and the parking and entrance to the bed and breakfast. And then the second issue is escape routes and the fire suppression requirements from the State Fire Marshal's office. Otherwise, I'd like to see this passed, but I'd like to see somebody either answer these or somebody contact the state to make sure that we're following all state statutes and especially our county codified code. And maybe the applicant or maybe Mr. Myers or Community Development Director can answer those questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there anyone
Final
else?
speaker.
Okay. Are there any questions from anyone on the council pertaining to this conditional use permit? Yes,
No, I'll just say that they've been part of the community for a long time. They used to own a restaurant. When they're empty nesters now, but when their kids are there, had marked cars there, they know how with his bed and breakfast. So I had no complaints, so it's all good.
Mr. Hammond?
Yeah, based on the number of occupants, they would not be required to provide ADA access, nor would they be required to comply with anything with the state fire marshal's office. It would be based on the local building code, so.
Anyone else? Okay, that closes the hearing on the conditional use permit, Bill number 5266. It will be up for a vote next, at our next meeting. There is another tabled CUP. Is there any interest in bringing that off the table? Seeing none, we move on to public comments. Just a reminder, public comments will be 3 minutes. If you wish to speak, make sure you fill out a speaker's card. Normally, we would allow 3 to 4 speakers on a particular topic, and I know tonight there are more speakers than that on one particular topic, so we'll allow more on the issue that has the large number of folks. Lori.
Bill number 5255, Julie Weilbaum.
Do I need to swear myself in?
No, that's just for the CUP. Okay.
Okay, well, I ask, can we turn off the lights? Thank you.
There you go.
Our detention ponds aren't just some sort of stormwater access. They hold the most important function in gathering all of that precious rainwater, but they serve a far greater purpose to our community, and that's a common ground for our children.
Take a glass of my past and fill it up. Seeing these memories floating to the top. I never learn it'll burn till the last drop. At the bottom of the bottle where I messed up. And I keep looking back, keep looking back. Replay time in high or slow. See your smile again, so pretty. Oh Lord, why must my life be caught on video?
Can you see now how important this is? These are common grounds that our children can use all year round. And our lost pets seek refuge there, and sometimes a drink of water. They want to access our detention ponds, and we need to talk about this. Before they could vote on the variance or the division of the plat, it's important that County Council understands if they can vote on the variance. Because of so much at stake here, it is worth listening to. It is worth the presentations that we have to provide you. Please, hear our voices. Take our concerns seriously. And let's find out if we can even vote on this tonight. That's all I'm really going to leave you with, and I think the speakers will do the rest.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
5255, The Sterling Company.
Hi, my name's Mike Birding. I'm with the Sterling Company, and I'm here on behalf of the Sterling Company and the client to answer any questions when this comes up on later on in the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
5255, Alexandra DiCrispino.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Alexandra DiCrispino from 52 Wisdom Way, and I appreciate this opportunity to voice my concerns. I'm here to oppose the division of Lot 2 in the LMC subdivision at Duello and N, and to advocate for changing its zoning. For my backyard, the proposed variance allows for a road overlooking my home and those of my neighbors at a much higher elevation. The elevation is about 20 feet above the bottom of my backyard, so anything looking over that It's just people staring down at us. This opens up all of our families up to the scary and undeniable concerns we have of peeping toms and criminals looking into our backyards, with our children innocently swimming in our pools. This invasion of privacy is unsettling, as the variance allows for this road to be barely 50 feet from my property. Our property tax increased by 19% last year. Yet, this project threatens to diminish our property values, compromise our privacy, and potentially render our homes unsellable at fair market prices. The Planning Commission has dismissed these concerns, which feels like a betrayal to our community. Moreover, the current plan poses severe traffic hazards. The proposed entrance off Highway N is dangerously close to a site-limited curve near Duello and N, an intersection already notorious for accidents. Most of the teenagers affectionately refer to this intersection as the guess and go. Additional entrances on Duello will exacerbate congestion on an already deteriorating and overburdened road. Approving this variance basically creates a pass-through to avoid the intersection and future light that the county is working diligently on at the intersection. Finally, documents submitted to the county surrounding the owner under contract are troubling. The address provided on official documents does not exist, and no one that I know of can find any information about this LLC anywhere. All that anyone can gather is that it's an offshore LLC based in India, and at a minimum, I believe that documents provided to county government ought to be without clerical error. I urge the council to consider, 1, vote no in possible rezoning to encourage less intrusive businesses and reduce traffic impact. And 2, if the project does proceed, mandate a 20-foot privacy fence along the back of the property that will help protect all of our families. In conclusion, this plan as it stands is not just impractical, but potentially harmful. We ask for thoughtful modifications or ideally a reevaluation towards a safer, less invasive development plan. Thank you for considering our community's well-being.
Thank you, ma'am.
5255, Les Stackmeyer.
Good evening, council members. My name is Lester Stuckmeyer, and I represent Dove Meadows Subdivision. They asked me to come in and speak against the bill 5255 today, and understand I'm speaking for the subdivision. More importantly, we're more concerned about the variance, in that I understand all it's doing is splitting the lots and allowing a road. And I'm not sure that up until this point in time, the county had some concerns about where that stormwater would run off if there was a development there. There was previously in 2014 and up until now a requirement that the developer get some kind of permission or access to that stormwater detention basin, which they really don't have. I understand that, the plat's been floated around here, and as I look at the plat, all that's granted in there is an easement for access if it's granted to the basin. There's nothing that allows them to access that basin. So if we decide to go forward with this project, we're going to have to figure out where that stormwater is going to go. Until Dove Meadows would consent to it, which they're not, we're going to have that other issue here. And so my purpose of really being here today is to ask this council to exercise some caution, to think about the stormwater and where it's going to go, where it's going to trespass onto the possible homeowner's lot, and whether or not there's going to be any into the basin. I think that the Dove Meadows subdivision, they maintain this basin, they own it, it's a privately owned and maintained basin. There's no access and there's no provision for any even kind of contribution. If their detention basin was to be accessed, as well as we're not even sure whether or not the detention basin is as adequate for the stormwater runoff. So the subdivision asked me just here today to let you all sit and consider before you take any action, not just the homeowners, but the burden to the association if this allows to go through without any kind of provision whatsoever for stormwater runoff. So I thank you for your time today.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
5255, Nicole Colling.
I'm going to try to hook this up.
Okay, give it a whirl.
I don't know, this is what he told me to do. Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Awesome. Hi there, my name's Nicole. A commercial developer, as we know, and their business partners are wanting to divide this commercial lot in order to build a potential 24-hour gas station and convenience store close to hundreds of residential homes. Several of these properties will have their backyards backing up to this proposed development, one of them being mine, which in some of the paperwork is referred to as Lot 34. Allowing this commercial lot to split into two will allow not one, but two businesses to attract more traffic to an already congested intersection and remove green space and soil that is needed to help ease the storm drainage that flows into several backyards before hitting our HOA-managed detention pond. Before we rush into a decision the county may later regret, we need to investigate finding a solution for a few significant issues at play. Traffic at Jewello and Highway Inn is already highly congested. Backing up traffic each day during peak commute hours, taking 15 plus minutes just to travel 1 mile down the road. Anyone who lives near our neighborhood knows that Jewello Road is already used as a bypass for Highway Inn during these traffic times, which occur daily. I know this because my own commute forced me to drive it thousands of times over the past 10 years. Any statement that says this will not increase traffic volume, congestion, or other risks are simply untrue and not supported by any research. Allowing this lot to be split into two commercial lots instead of one will only worsen the traffic volume. Based on standard measurements approaches such as the ITE trip generation manual, which provides information on how to estimate these trips added to the roadway system by a wide variety of land uses, states each gas station pump generates up to 130 visits per day. In addition, 1,000 square feet of convenience store produces up to 1,200 trips per day. Based on those measures, a 5,200 square foot gas station with 8 pumps would generate up to 7,000 trips per based on national averages. Any data provided by the developer without an unbiased study being done first is simply a reason to deny or postpone this two-lot split until we can learn more. Their proposed solution is to create a second entrance on Jewello Road, which we will drive congestion onto Jewello Road, making it difficult to exit and enter two residential neighborhoods daily. Again, we are talking about allowing an entrance and exit connecting to Jewello Road to accommodate a two-split lot, not just one business. Today, Jewello is solely used by residents and school transportation, and it already has its issues. Not having an unbiased traffic assessment during peak school and rush hour traffic is another reason to deny or postpone this development until more information is provided. I keep hearing, why did you build a home backing up to a lot that would be developed by this? Surely you saw this coming. Well, when I built my home, this was a large agricultural lot zoned to turn commercial once it was sold. Never did we think we'd be sliced into multiple sections, which is allowed
Thank you,
back
ma'am.
in 2014. Thank you.
Ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the visual aid.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
5255 Kelsey Kane.
I get a double dose of me today.
That's fine.
My name's Kelsey Kane. I live in the Dove Meadow subdivision, directly behind this lot in question. Sterling and their proposal has requested a variance to St. Charles County Code, Chapter 410.280, that states all lots within a subdivided plot must have driveway access to interior subdivision streets. If you've driven anywhere close to the route and corridor between 64 and Highway Z, you know it's a mess. According to a PEL study completed in preparation for the route end improvements that was finished in 2022, which haven't even began design yet due to lack of funding, the number of vehicles on the route end corridor exceeds the capacity of the existing roadway. We are developing too fast for the current infrastructure in place. We know improvements are coming and developments are happening in appropriately zoned areas, but at what cost? Increasing the number of access points on a road is known to cause problems with traffic flow and congestion. But are you aware that each new access point on average increases the accident rate by 4%? Sounds like a small number, but to put it in perspective, considering the rate of development in this area, doubling the access frequency from 10 to 20 access points per mile would increase accident rates by 40%. The reason MoDOT is only allowing one access point to this lot is decrease said access points on the busy and congested Highway N, which is only going to get worse in the coming developments already in the works. If this lot is divided and the variance is granted, the proposal is to add 2 additional entrance and exits on Duello Road to this lot. Have you ever been on Duello during peak traffic times or at any point during the day? It's busy. We have several large subdivisions who utilize Duello as their access point to their homes. Plus, we have Duello Elementary School buses and parents driving our children to and from school. 2 exits at this intersection would only worsen the current congestion issues and add 2 more access points at an even busier intersection. The purpose of St. Charles County Code verbatim is to provide minimum requirements for efficient, coordinated, and economic development of the county and to promote public health, safety, and welfare. Splitting this lot into 2 and granting this variance would be irresponsible because it would be putting the safety of our friends, children, and families all at risk. If you believe this was already the most dangerous intersection in the county, as mentioned by a council member, why add insult to injury? Please do not allow this lot to be split into 2 and do not grant the request for this variance because it's in place to help protect the people that use this intersection. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
5255, Martin Maxey.
Hello. Got a few slides.
There it goes.
Okay. All right, Councilman, please vote no against splitting the lot behind Brookfield Crossing. Making inadequate space for the engineering controls raises concerns about the gas station's elevation surpassing the home's heights. Also, ongoing road construction on Duello and a removal of the east side trees intensifies these worries. The trees were a natural barrier. To the C2 lot. And I was hoping for a privacy fence in that place. However, recent information has maybe challenged these possibilities. This is what we have. And this is my house. This is what we're going to go to. Every single tree will be down. But as of right now, this is what's down right now. I don't know if you guys split that lot, if you're going to have the possibility for engineering controls to block these. Here's somebody's backyard over at Dove Meadows. And you can see, I don't know if this was the attempt, this fence here, ooh, that's pretty bright, to get these people's backyards, but think about it as a 24-hour gas station with honking horns and lights coming at 2 a.m. Like I said, the road construction's also intensifying this. You guys seen the crashes on there? I wanted a fence, the blue line. My home is the pink, right here. But I don't know if it was confusion. I don't know if it's still going through or if it will. But right now, my house is going to be looking straight at a gas station, all my windows. And like I said, I don't know with it being 25 feet above me how it's possible other than having 30-foot trees of blocking any view, especially on the entrance of this gas station. Every house here has kids. There's almost 20 kids that live in Brookfield Crossing. And we're just going to confuse this intersection even more with more traffic. Don't think that it's going to be a good idea. The safety is my number one concern. And I have a guy that lives in my community and he has a drone and he just hears crashes, so he'll just take up his drone. There are a lot more pictures like this. I just don't have all of them printed out. And this was a concern before this happened. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The last speaker for 5255, Sarah Tipton.
I just have a few quick points to make. This property should have never been rezoned from residential to C2 in 2008. Before being sold off in a housing crisis by the developer. The homes were already under construction in this subdivision due north, Dove Meadows, touching the property. But you can right a wrong tonight by voting no on the lot split. Another point, how can type D soil that's so incompatible for residential basements, part of the reason Burkemper sold the property, according to the soil study, type D soil, how can that, if it's incompatible for residential basements, how can that be suitable for underground storage tanks of gasoline? What could possibly go wrong? Here's a question. Who's the buyer? Alexandria brought this up. On this diagram, page 10 in the original proposal, in a second that'll...
There you go.
Yeah, there's a highlighted little thing there that says owner under contract. Gemini Infra LLC, listed on page 10, is not a registered Missouri business. Who are they? They're not a Delaware corporation either, because we checked that. The address provided cannot be found. I challenge you to map to 3619 Richardson Road in Arnold, Missouri. It does not exist. No phone number was provided as required by county. This developer submitted incorrect and incomplete information. Maybe it just should raise some eyebrows and ask some more questions. So when stormwater runoff floods the adjacent homes below, will we have another heritage on our hands? Will the county buy these unsaleable homes as well? In homeowners insurance, and I'm in the commercial insurance business, but I know that in homeowners, some floods are covered and some floods aren't, depending on what kind of water it is. So we should think about that. What are we doing to these homeowners? And finally, if this is built, let's call it the guess and go. Not the gas and go. Call it the guess and go. Because as Alexandra already pointed out, that's how teen drivers already refer to crossing Duello Road due to the blind spots and the lack of sight lines. So it's a guess and go. Thank you, County Council, especially Councilman Matt Swanson, for all the time and effort in carefully considering the many bad implications of this proposal and bill over the last 6 to 8 weeks. We appreciate you. Please vote no on the split.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Regarding Missouri Bluffs Bike Park, Kyle Kringle.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Kyle. My name's Kyle. I'm a member of the local cycling community for St. Charles County. I just wanted to show up and say thank you on behalf of all the rest of the folks that came here to support the St. Charles Bike Park going into Missouri Bluffs Park. You guys have been instrumental in developing some really neat things for the community to ride and enjoy, including the development and the growth of the NICA team. If you're on the NICA team, raise your hand. Okay, so that's a St. Charles County-based cycling team, and these types of things that you guys are building for riders, for community members, is really incredible. And the development of young riders, I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old that both ride pedal bikes, and we spend tons of time at the Kinetic Park. And I think this project is just the next step in St. Charles County becoming a destination town for cycling, and I really appreciate your consideration for the project, as does the number of people that showed up today. And thank you very much for continuing to support St. Charles County cycling and the enthusiasts that thrive on it.
Thank you, sir.
Regarding County Ordinance 405, RV storage, Zachary Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Zachary Jackson. I'm in District 7 in Woodcliff Estates subdivision. County Ordinance Section 405-420. No recreational equipment shall be inhabited or occupied other than in conformance with Section 405-420B of the Unified Development Ordinance, nor shall it be supplied with dedicated utilities. Number 2, the maximum number and size on any lot or parcel within a dwelling, no more than one trailer or item of recreational equipment shall be parked or stored outside a fully enclosed structure, nor shall the trailer or recreational equipment be stored outdoors exceed 24 foot in length or 8.5 feet wide. My concern with this would be number 2. I don't think that we need a one-size-fits-all for vehicle storage, residential or recreational trailers, or motorhomes or trailers like that. I live in a community that has 1-acre lots and half-acre lots. I understand that you guys want to preserve the community with neighborhoods and not have large trailers stored in subdivisions that are closely knit and cannot be stored behind the house. But I think we would like to make a recommendation to this ordinance and maybe put a lot size on the size or do away with the 24-foot in order to accommodate the different residents within our community. I understand we have these ordinances to preserve a community and promote a desirable place to live. I ask that we do not provide a one-shoe-fits-all mentality to each neighborhood and community. I would not expect to live in a subdivision with a quarter-acre lot and store a recreational vehicle or trailer. I purposely chose the lot that I did to accommodate the personal property that I own. Due to the ordinance, and I've lived in the residence for since 2010, they have cited me for my motorhome. And now I have an acre lot, so it does not conform to the 24-foot rule. So could we please open this ordinance up and make some adjustments to this?
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I got another 34 seconds. But
Okay,
Can we
yeah.
put this up real quick?
Sure.
I forgot about this.
It should
How do we
pop,
turn this on?
it should pop up.
It's
It'll come.
Okay, well, that's not very big. These are the different county regulations based on lot sizes. And as you can see, St. Charles County is one of the more restrictive in regards to all of the surrounding residential areas. Even in the city of St. Charles, you could have 2 trailers and a 32-foot. So I really think that that's something that we need to address and look at. Thank you.
Regarding fire EMS alerting, Dwayne Jansen.
Good evening, members of the county council. I would ask, is Jeff Smith here this evening? Jeff, I would like to waive my time for Jeff to explain a little bit more as I've reached out to him. I haven't heard back from him today, but that's because I only found out about this on Friday evening when the agenda comes out. So I would like to waive my time to Jeff Smith. Maybe he can explain a little more about what this is. Thank you.
Sir, you know that's not how this works, right? Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Arnie Dienoff.
Thank you very much. Members of council, my name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff. First of all, I'd like to congratulate our Missouri Chiefs for another victory in the Super Bowl. Secondly, on the approval of purchases, our historic courthouse plaster and paint repair in the amount of $150,000. That seems kind of excessive. Number one, was this a sole bidder? It is a local bidder, but number two, this is on top of the $225,000 in which this county council has approved murals outside this room in the rotunda of our old courthouse. So I don't see any problems with the plaster. And you're going to spend an exorbitant amount of money on murals. It just doesn't make any sense. So if somebody can address that, that'd be great. Bill number 5265, authorizing issuance and sale of special obligation bonds. Again, this is a waste of taxpayer money in the amount of $35 million. It's going to come back 4 to 5% interest, paid over 20 to 30 years. It's kind of crazy when we're putting money after bad in our corrections facility, when you could build a brand-new MV state-of-the-art facility out in O'Fallon next to the police department, instead of putting it into a building that has all kinds of problems. So $35 million, and again, part of that is being spent on the family arena, of which we're subsidizing. And finally, I want to talk about information systems, the fiber optic cable use agreement, broadband, I3 broadband, $3,688,000. Mr. Elam should not be present in the room for this discussion. It's against state law. Was the bid rigged and written to make sure that only one contractor would qualify with the bid specifications? Ethics and personal gain from Councilman Mike Elam, as he is Vice President of I3 Broadband, will cause a complaint and investigation to both the Missouri Ethics Commission and the Federal Communications Commission. This is bad and embarrassing for our county, and I'm requesting and testifying that you reject the sole bidder, $3.7 million, and rebid the fiber optics project. You know, it comes down to profits. First of all, they do have a showing here in St. Charles County on Turner Boulevard on the border of O'Fallon and St. Peters, but their headquarters are really at 602 High Point Lane East in Peoria, Illinois, 6166. And the people that are going to profit are Mr. Elam, Mr. Paul Cronin, the Chief Executive Officer, Dan Kennedy, the President and Chief Executive Officer, Casey Dennis, the Chief Technology Officer, Tasha Morero.
Thank you, sir.
Scott Knobb, Jeff
Thank you,
Nichol,
sir.
Janet Ungnist. And I ask you to reject this.
Thank you.
And it's not fair for Mr. Elam to rake our
Thank you, sir. I
taxpayers
said
across
that
the
is
coals.
enough.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That
Final
concludes public comment. Next on the agenda is an oral report from the county executive. And he is ill, so we will not have that. Next up is the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, there has been a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as is. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda has passed. Do I have a motion to bring the item removed from the consent agenda several meetings ago back to the table?
Make a motion to put broadband I3 back on the table.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to bring that back to the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are now discussing the fiber optic cable use agreement. And would you like to go first there?
Yeah, I sent some questions to the administration on this particular issue, and still not satisfied with the answers and not satisfied with what the county's doing. On number 6 of my questions, give me some context who showed up at the pre-bid and decided not to bid. They gave me 4 contacts. I called them again today. Paul Berry from Spectrum, phone number's disconnected. Gateway Fiber, Terry Eisenrath, nobody works there with that name. Cisco, David Douglas, no answer, just phone rings. And so I'm very concerned that I can't get a hold of any of the people who supposedly came to the pre-bid. That's bothersome. Not the same with what happened a month or so. I tried calling the same numbers, no one ever answers, or they don't exist. The biggest problem with this is we have one bidder. And the county, I can play a video if you all want to see it. It's 8 minutes, but we don't need to go there because you all know the facts here. The county executives team kept saying over and over again, the reason why this is a single source bidder is because we will own the fiber. We will own the fiber. No other person would go with that bid. We would not be able to own the fiber. Well, that's not even the truth. We don't own the fiber. We're going to get a 20-year lease. That was the answer I got from the second round of questions. We don't own the fiber. We're leasing it. And then some of these other questions, number 6, or I asked, what's the approximate of the investment? It says the return on investment would be approximately 3 years, 9 months. There's no return on investment when you lease stuff. It's a cost. We have no capital because it's a 20-year lease. They said over and over again, we were going to own the cable. We do not own the cable. So what I want to be clear here is there's only one bidder because it's the only company that's going to allow us to own the cable. That's what they said. over and over and over again. So when the scope was changed, did the other companies have the opportunity to know that it's going to be a lease? So the county has to quit writing specs that only one company can bid, and they have to quit putting us in a bad situation. The other thing is, which is completely clear, is in our county ordinances in section 10.400, conflict of interest. No officer or employee of the county, whether elected or appointed, shall in any manner whatsoever be interested in or receive any benefit from the profits or emoluments of any contract, job, work, activity, function, or service for the county. No officer or employee shall act or refrain from acting in any capacity in which he is lawfully empowered to act as such an official or employee by reason of any payment, offer to pay, promise to pay, or receipt of any or actual value other than compensation to be paid for by the county. Whoever votes on it, we took an oath of our office. We pass ordinances to follow our ordinances. We took an oath of office to follow the Constitution, the Missouri Constitution, and our county charter and ordinances. Any council member who votes for this is violating the law. That's all.
The comments? Okay, any other comments? Okay. Yes, Mr. Graves, would you like to? Yes.
Joe, I did rewatch the tape from the last council meeting, and I want to point out that when I spoke, I mentioned there was an indefeasible right of use. Matthew Seeds did use the word ownership in that, so you are correct that he did say that in the beginning. He also, as he went through his presentation, though, did go back and say, no, this is an indefeasible right of use agreement. Similar to what we did back in July of 2023 when we entered into an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Wentzville for use of dark fiber that was being put in as part of the Gateway Fiber build-out. We have a right of use for 20 years plus 2 5-year terms. So that is what was said during that meeting. I apologize that Matthew did use the term ownership and created some confusion, but we were clear throughout, and I actually said to clarify the issue, this is an infeasible right of use in that last conversation.
The other problem with that is, in the bidding laws in the state of Missouri, when a government institution does any kind of public work, public utilities, public streets, public whatever, it's either got to be prevailing wage, which is either union or prevailing wage, because that's the state law. So my question is how I got to this point to find out it was being leased is, are they paying prevailing wage? And they paying people salaries? Are they going to be from the area? They're going to be from the United States? Those kind of questions. The answer I said was, well, no, they don't have to pay prevailing wage because we're leasing the fiber. Well, that was when I found out that was never said. That was never said. Why would we lease it? I mean, we don't need to lease it. Why would we spend almost $4 million on leasing fiber? It's a 20-year irrefusable lease. Okay, it's a 20-year lease. That's what it is. It's not what we talked about. It's not what was said. And the fact that one person's bidding it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter it's a councilman. That's a real problem. But it's even more of a problem that we only have one bid. And we go over this with this council. We go over it with this all the time. We're like, why are you putting us on this spot? This is our job to pass the budget. This is our job to follow our county ordinances. This is our job to make sure it's checks and balances. The county executive does their stuff. We do our stuff. That's why the charter's written this way. It's checks and balances. And this is a check and balance. So I won't be supporting it.
Okay. Any other comments by any other council members?
Yeah, I'd like to say,
Mr.
you know, there's a lot of bids that we get in that we only have, a lot of projects that we only have one bidder, and that's unfortunate, but there's typically a reason why that happens. But I don't see why we're bringing this out as one of those that we only had a single bid on when we've approved other items. That's all.
Okay, so we will now vote on the actual item that was removed from the consent agenda. I will request a roll call vote on the particular issue. Obviously, voting yes would be that we would be approving it. Voting no would be we would be voting it down. Okay, please call the roll.
On fiber optic cable use agreement, Matt Swanson,
Yes.
Joe Brazel.
No.
Sorry, Councilman Elam.
Abstain.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Okay. The information system item on the consent agenda has passed. We will now move on for bills for final passage, beginning with bill number 5258.
Bill number 5258, requested by John Lyons, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance approving an agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation for the South Point Prairie Road project.
Questions or comments on this particular bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5258, an ordinance approving an agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation for the South Point Prairie Road project. Councilman Swanson?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Okay, bill number 5258 is passed. Next bill is bill number 52.
Terry?
Yes.
Could I make a motion to, we want to move the table bill 5255 up?
That would be fine. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right. We've now moved up the tabled bill, bill number 5255, which you folks are all here and interested in. And we will read the bill, and then we will open it up for discussion.
Bill
Make a
number,
motion to remove it from the,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Table.
Do I have a motion to remove it from the table?
yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the bill is now in front of us, and are there questions? Go ahead. I don't think.
I'll read the bill.
Yes.
Bill number 5255, an ordinance of the County of St. Charles, Missouri, approving the preliminary plat of the re-subdivision of Lot 2 of LMC subdivision.
Okay, Mr. Brazel,
Okay,
would you
so,
like to start?
Robert, is Robert out there?
Yeah.
Robert, can you come up here a minute, please? What we talked about was, I'm not in favor of dividing this lot. It's just gonna crowd the area, and I explained I talked to some of the folks on the phone, and, keeping in mind that we can't, with us voting it down, that's what we're gonna do, vote it down, but we can put no conditions on it, because like you said, when this was built in 2008, there were no houses back there, so it's hard to, sometimes you make mistakes. If I voted for it, I guess, because you can't, it was 18 years ago or however long it was, but you can't predict the future. But I guess, Robert, we talked about, but the holdup was, I was out of town last meeting, but also I wanted to place a bunch of conditions on this in case it does pass. I don't think it's gonna pass, but I can't tell you, I didn't poll the council, but I'm hoping it doesn't pass, but what I was gonna do is put conditions on it if it did pass. And Robert, we talked about the conditions I sent to you on email. Did you guys prepare anything for that? Are we just gonna add it as an addendum, or how did you plan on doing that?
We passed that information along to the county counselor's office, and they're reviewing exactly under the subdivision regulations and the provisions for variances, granting variances, and what conditions that can be placed for subdivision variances. So the county counselor's office is reviewing specifically what conditions can be placed.
But we were supposed to have that this meeting, because that's why we didn't have it last meeting. Do we have the only thing, Roy, I believe that was holding it up is, can we turn the building, and or the back of it, like the canopy's gotta be out front, is there any way we can do that with the condition? Can we turn it in such a manner that all the canopies and all the light are in the front of the building?
Yeah, that is one of the conditions that we're internally reviewing within the office now. We anticipate this is not the kind of thing where we can do an addendum after a vote. So if you're wanting to pursue any kind of conditions, then that would need to be a substitute bill that we would bring to you. So if that's the case, then this should remain on the table.
I understand that, but did you find out if it's possible to add that condition in there?
I can tell you right now that there isn't anything definitive that says that we can do it. The research that I'm looking at says that that's unlikely. So, but it's not a definitive question right now, or a definitive answer for you right now. That's what we're still internally reviewing.
Well, we talked about doing is lining the lot with tall evergreen trees, staggered them, turn the building where there's no lights that would be in the back. And was there any more, Robert, that you can remember?
Fence?
We would do that anyway.
What about a fence?
Privacy fence, yeah, privacy fence, we would add that. So what we can do is what, I really think it's not gonna pass, but I can't tell you that because I didn't pull the council. But I would feel more safe if we had the substitute bill with those conditions in case it doesn't fail. And that way, we would have that in there, and then we can stick those on the conditions, right, Robert?
Well, I would add that county ordinances already cover a landscape buffer between commercial and residential, and also lighting standards. So as part of the site plan process, any development that's proposed as commercial, you have to turn in a lighting plan. And that lighting plan would have to show no greater than 0.1 foot candles at the property line cast onto the neighboring property. So that's a requirement already, regardless of any sort of subdivision variances that are taking place.
Mr. Chairman, may I inquire, Mr. Brazel?
Sure.
Are you proposing that we pass it and put conditions on it? Or, because if I'm clear, if we vote it down, we cannot put conditions on something that we vote down, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so are you suggesting that we pass it and put conditions on it?
No, what I'm suggesting is I didn't call you folks up. I don't know how you're gonna vote. I would prefer just to kill the bill and not divide it, so there's more room on that lot. It's a 5-acre lot.
Okay.
That's what I would prefer to do. But I don't know, I don't know where you guys are on it, so I told the folks that with it, if it does pass, with it passing, I can do conditions. Otherwise, I can do 0 conditions, okay?
Mr. Baker? Yeah. Mike, do you mind, I got some questions for you, if we could. There's been some questions about the owner. Who is the actual owner under contract?
Well, it is a client that's working under an LLC, but I was unaware that LLC doesn't exist, or we're not looking in the right location for that, but that's the development name they chose to put this under.
Is it a developer that you can share with us? I mean, that we would know?
I'm not sure without his permission. It's a gentleman, it's a private individual, but he's not anybody that's associated with any home builders or anything like that.
Okay.
Not your typical developer.
I have another question. The detention basin in Dove Meadows, has that been designed for the additional flow from this site?
Well, there was an original design that included this site when it was originally passed, but it doesn't meet what today's standard is for stormwater
So how,
detention.
I mean, it seems like if that's the case, you would have to either provide detention on your site or modify the existing basin, which doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
Right, and it would most likely be some added detention on site, and that'd probably be in the form of an underground basin.
Okay. Can you explain the variance that you're requesting, which is the public street? And I thought when I saw the plan, it looked like there was a full access onto N. Is that true, or is it just a right in, right out?
Yeah, no, that is a full access, but it anticipates the light going in the future. But the thing is that the way that the ordinance is written, it has to be a driveway to the internal street, to the subdivision street. And that's the only way you can do it and that's the reason for the variance, is because it can either be a public street, which would meet the ordinance, or it would be a private driveway with a cross-access easement between the two parcels. They both still have frontage on Highway N, but that frontage doesn't count.
Okay, so, I mean, if I looked at it correctly, if the variance was denied, could you, I mean, and I see that there's an entrance out at N, or at Duello, which is closer to the intersection. Could a cross-access easement be provided from there to the other site? Or, I guess my question is, if this gets denied, what options are there?
If this gets denied, to put in a public street. Well, now, I'm saying if the variance is denied, if the lot split is, the record plat is denied, then you'd have to come back with a different proposal, but the street could be a public street. And then that's on the burden on the county for maintenance, and if it's private, then it'd be the developer or, the commercial use.
So what you're saying is that that street would be irrespective of what, I mean, there'd be a street there irrespective of whether it's public, I mean, the
There
question
or
is.
somewhere near there, the location of that entrance on that street was in conjunction with our staff and the county staff, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hammond?
Yeah, I'd say we go ahead and vote on this, and I don't support it, and I can't imagine anybody on the council support putting a gas station in the middle of these people's subdivision. I just don't think it's the right place for that, and I won't vote for it.
All right, yes, Mr. Swanson?
Staff, this is more just a clarification question. If information is incorrect on an application, what's our policy? What's our procedures? Do we have?
Are you
Mike
talking
or
about
Robert, or who's answering it?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I think they're talking to you and Michael, but you're talking about the address being incorrect
Yes.
allegedly.
Yeah. I can't say that it is incorrect. I mean, I've heard some people here tonight questioning that, but I don't know that's the case, but.
So let's do the assume game here, and I don't usually like doing hypothetical, but if it isn't, and the application's gone all the way through, does that negate everything that has been done?
Well, the final plat is the one that contains signatures. So the final plat would have to accurately reflect ownership at that time. When they apply, they have to submit a copy of the deed. They have to show who owns it, that the owners agree to the application. And in the end, the final plat has to be signed by all parties with interest in the property, and those signatures have to be notarized.
So at this point, there wouldn't be a disqualification of it for incorrect information?
No, if there is something needs to be adjusted in terms of ownership, we can do that, but obviously it has to be done before the final plat. We're at the preliminary plat stage. Should this be approved, then we would go to the final plat stage, and that's the one that we recorded. This is an interim step between the preliminary plat and the final plat.
I understand. Just for future knowledge, moving, that I was curious. I've never seen an incorrect address before. It may be a typo, but it seems like there's two incorrect elements that have been discovered by this group. And finally, just to conclude, Mike, I didn't get your last name.
Bird.
I think you're understanding there's extreme opposition to this development. As representatives of the people, this is what they come to us for when they don't want something. So hopefully you'll be able to talk with your client and maybe come up with a better solution or development for this area.
Okay.
I know, I'm just putting it out there because we do represent the people.
Right.
That's all I have.
Are there any other comments on this particular issue?
I think, Terry, I will ask for the council just to vote no for it, I'd appreciate the votes, and there's no point in me redoing a substitute bill.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will now go ahead and vote on bill number 5255, if you'll read the title, and we'll have a roll call vote.
Bill number 5255, an ordinance of the County of St. Charles, Missouri, approving the preliminary plat of the re-subdivision of Lot 2 of LMC subdivision. Councilman Brazel?
No.
Councilman Elam?
No.
Councilman Hollander?
No.
Councilman Hammond?
No.
Councilwoman Schneider?
No.
Councilman Baker?
No.
Councilman Swanson?
No.
Okay, so tabled bill number 5255 has been defeated. Okay, now we will resume back where we had left off, which I believe is bill number 5259.
Bill number 5259, requested by John Lyons, sponsored by Matt Swanson. An ordinance approving an agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation to fund the Josephville Road Phase 2 project.
Okay, any questions or comments on this particular bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5259, an ordinance approving an agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation to fund the Josephville Road Phase 2 project. Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Okay, bill number 5259 passes. Next up is bill number 5260.
Bill number 5260, requested by John Lyon, sponsored by Matt Swanson, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project STBG 7302-706, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Josephville Road Bridge over a tributary to the Quiver River.
Questions or comments, please? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5260, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project STBG-7302-706, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Josephville Road Bridge over a tributary to the Quiver River. Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Okay, bill number 5260 passes. Next is bill number 5261.
Bill number 5261, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-R092001, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Dietrich Road Bridge over a tributary to McCoy Creek.
Questions or comments, please? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5261, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-R092001, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Dietrich Road Bridge over a tributary to McCoy Creek. Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes. Okay, bill number 5261 passes. Next up, bill number 5262.
Bill number 5262, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-R092002, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Howell Road Bridge over a tributary to the Femme Osage Creek.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5262, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-R092002, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Howell Road Bridge over a tributary to the Femme Osage Creek. Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Okay, bill number 5262 passes. We bring up bill number 5263.
Bill number 5263, an ordinance authorizing the county executive or his designee to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for financial assistance from the State American Rescue Plan, ACT, Water Infrastructure Grant Program for the study, design, and construction of stormwater improvements within the Heritage Subdivision, and fund CCTV inspection and condition rating of storm sewers in unincorporated St. Charles County.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5263, an ordinance authorizing the county executive or his designee to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for financial assistance from the State American Rescue Plan Act, Water Infrastructure Grant Program for the study, design, and construction of stormwater improvements within the Heritage Subdivision and fund CCTV inspection and condition rating of storm sewers in unincorporated St. Charles County. Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Okay. Bill number 5263 passes. Now we bring up bill number 5264.
Bill number 5264, an ordinance granting an easement to Spire, Missouri, Inc. for the installation of a new gas main along Hopewell Road in the New Harvest subdivision.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5264, an ordinance granting an easement to Spire, Missouri, Inc. for the installation of a new gas main along Hopewell Road in the New Harvest subdivision. Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Bill number 5264 passes. And the final bill for final passage, bill number 5265.
Bill number 5265, an ordinance authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of special obligation bonds, Series 2024 of St. Charles County, Missouri, and approving certain documents and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith.
Okay. Mr. Snur, would you like to give us a report on the sale of those bonds, which I believe was today?
It was, but we need the substitute.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we amend Bill number 5265 and replace it with substitute Bill 5265.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of substitute bill number 5265, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we have the substitute bill in front of us, and Mr. Snur.
Okay, we appreciate the council taking quick action and taking care of this tonight. We had a really good day in the market today. I'm happy to report. Our bond advisor told us today that what we saw today was pretty rare. We had 14 parties interested in our bonds when we went to market at 10 o'clock this morning. Of those 14 that expressed interest, 12 actually did bid. So we had 12 bids on our bonds. And the most that she's ever seen interested in a bond issue is 15. And it's Joy Howard, who is a known person around St. Charles County as a renowned bond advisor, and she's seen probably hundreds of bond issues. So it's kind of exciting to see the bids come in. So what actually took place today is because of the interest in our bonds, and St. Charles County has a good bond rating and is seen as a very good credit risk. We had quite a bit of competition. So in the end, the highest bidder is who we took, and that bidder actually bid a premium on the bonds, which actually now allows us to, instead of borrowing $35 million as we sought council approval for previously, we're going to be borrowing bonds and issuing bonds for $32,750,000. We had $2.25 million premium offered by the successful bidder, so we are to the good from where we put out on the marketplace. We are to the good by $2.25 million. So our bonds will total $32,750,000, not $35 million. So, yeah, it's a good day all the way around, and we thank you for taking quick action tonight so that we can get to closing on these probably by sometime in the next 10 days or so.
Are there any questions from any council members? Seeing none, please call the roll on substitute bill number 5265.
Substitute Bill number 5265, an ordinance authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of special obligation bonds, Series 2024 of St. Charles County, Missouri, and approving certain documents and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith. Councilman Brazel?
No.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
Yes.
Okay. Bill number 5265 has passed. We now have three bills for introduction, beginning with bill number 5267.
Bill number 5267, requested by Michael Hubert, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land currently located at 2153 Wilmer Road from A Agriculture District to CO Office District per application RZ 23-17, requested by Mike Hebert, Insurance Agency.
Okay, any questions, comments on this particular bill?
It's just it's an old farmhouse. He's gonna fix it up and make it his insurance agent. I think it's perfect. I mean,
I think it's a pretty straightforward
Yeah.
Situation.
And it's consistent with the 2030 master plan, I understand as well, so.
Sounds great. Okay, any other comments? Okay, we move on to bill number 5268 for introduction.
Bill number 5268, requested by Michael Hurlbert, sponsored by Tim Baker. An ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from R1E Single Family Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District per application RZ 23-18.
Questions or comments on bill 5268? Seeing none, we move on to bill number 5269.
Bill number 5269, requested by Patricia Stevens, sponsored by Terry Hollander, an ordinance authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement relating to the state and local cybersecurity grant program between St. Charles County and the Missouri Department of Public Safety.
Okay, questions or comments? Seeing none, that ends the bills for introduction. It also brings us to any announcements or miscellaneous by any council member. Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.